Historically, council housing in Dumfries and Galloway was the responsibility of the four former district councils at Wigtown, Stewartry, Nithsdale and Annandale and Eskdale. But in 1996, the Conservative government at the time had abolished the regional council, district council setup and replaced that with 32 unitary authorities. So the 32 unitary authorities, we were one of those, Dumfries and Galloway, and we were what was called an aggregating council because we brought together all of the services of the former four district councils and the regional council, and included in that was housing. The housing stock within Dumfries and Galloway had significantly reduced because of right to buy, and the houses that predominantly were bought were those better houses in the better locations. So the housing stock from a local authority perspective was decreasing from something like 18,000 back in the day to 13,000 at the time that stock transfer was being thought about.
Stock transfer was all about transferring the housing stock to a housing association that would be especially set up to take over the council's entire housing stock.
We knew that as a new authority we had to address the housing requirements of the region. From the council's point of view, we had two things that really needed to be addressed. The first one was the condition of the stock. The housing stock needed to be improved, but we didn't have the money to do that. And the other key factor was that 48 pence in every pound of tenant's rent was being used to pay off outstanding debt. And it doesn't take a genius to work out that that's not good use of tenants' money.
The birth of DGHP in April 2003 was really quite dramatic because we went right up to the line with actually getting the transfer to work. And I must say that for about 2 years after that, it was a bit of a roller coaster ride.
At that time, there was no stock transfer in Scotland at all, and I had to rely on the experience of other organisations south of the border. After a while, we extended the project team to about 12 or 13 of my colleagues, and we all worked together to develop a business plan to be presented to the council. And then we were given the big task to sell the concept to our tenants.
What the council did was to take forward a consultation process with the tenants. The key decision was that there would be full tenant participation. And the difference between participation and consultation is that consultation, you tell people what you're doing along the way. Participation is very much involving the people whose houses they were in the process.
It was very important to us right from the very beginning to ensure that tenants were part of this process at every step of the way. We went to every community. I remember going to Garliston and right round Wigtonshire, Stewartry, Nithsdale, Annandale and Eskdale just to get ourselves noticed.
There was just this real energy about the organisation, and there was this huge input from all the tenants on the board, and I really thought that was fantastic.
George Murray, one of the founder members of the organisation and former chairman, he coined the phrase "tenants at the core of everything we do." And I think now that we've realised that, and I genuinely believe that we've delivered a framework that allows tenants to have access and be part of our organisation as much or as little as they want to.
My late husband George first started DGHP. He was chairman for 5 years. He did it for the tenants, to help tenants all over the Dumfries and Galloway. And I think he would be very proud of what they've done throughout the years.
Before transfer, we made about 60 plus promises to tenants about we would improve the homes, we would maintain them, we would make sure that tenants could influence all the decision making within the organisation.
Our tenants were very clearly wanted modernised kitchens and bathrooms. They wanted secure external doors and a general facelift to the house.
What we did was we analysed that kind of stock, and we did that in Stranraer and in Dumfries. And we looked at it and we picked out what we thought was the worst first.
So a decision was made fairly early on that we would look to regenerate those communities.
They were all flatted properties, all with common closes, which really were not very pleasant spaces. And all of the flats as well were not energy efficient.
It was very clear very quickly that no matter how we invested in these properties, they were never really going to be that nice a place to live in. As a team, we've probably faced every challenge imaginable. We had issues with our funders, Bradford and Bingley sold the loan book on. We had our major, over the years, we had our major contractors, Connaught went bust. We had issues with R&D, our major building developer. But gradually over the years, we've invested in the stock. We've worked very, very hard to give tenants a meaningful role within the organisation.
Over the past 10 years, there's been highs, there's been lows, there's been challenges and many achievements, of which I've been proud to have been involved in. I hope that you will join me in celebrating the past 10 years on film.
So the quality of housing was to a poor standard. Investing in the houses has been fundamentally to change that.
We're still undertaking the development now. We're doing very much family housing, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, with off-street parking, etc. And that's still ongoing.
If we were a can't-do organisation, we wouldn't have achieved half of what we've done to date.
I'm really proud to have been involved in this. I have met some wonderful people over the years and really have been privileged to be part of a team that has worked so well together to make the difference to people's lives.
In my view, it'll have a really, really positive impact. I think that the living accommodation is spacious, it's designed for, easy living, but I think as well that it's just uplifted the whole of the neighbourhood. I think people are taking a lot more pride. If you go around those properties now, people are really looking after the outside of the property as well as the inside, and I think it's delivering a safe and pleasant place for people to live. DGHP is not all about bricks and mortar. What we've found over the years is that we really need to diversify the business because the client groups that we serve, their needs are changing, their expectations are changing, and we have to deliver what people expect.
When I first moved in here, it was a coal fire. And, well, the heating was good from that coal fire, as long as you had a fire burning. Then we got the offer to go on to this air system, and we got back to radiators. And it's absolutely great. It's very inexpensive as far as I'm concerned. That I've never had my electricity so cheap, and I've spoken to several other tenants and they're finding it cheaper as well. We've got new kitchens fitted, we've got new bathrooms fitted, we've got new front doors and back doors, and then of course this heating, which is the big bonus, you know.
We were having a discussion one day about the bus, and they were struggling at times to get somebody to drive it. And I had the bright idea that my brother retired, used to drive lorries and stuff, so I offered his services.
In this area, there is some people that can't even get into Dumfries to report complaints or anything, or they can't use the transport. So we take the van out to the rural areas that haven't got offices or anything.
DGHP tenants get letters to say that we're coming. We just roll up at the time we're meant to be there, open up the doors, sit and hope people come and see us.
It's a great project because it gets the DGHP's name out into the rural areas, especially because obviously in the Stewartry area we're very rural. We've got about 1,300 houses spread over something like 2,500 square miles. So we've got lots of little villages with only 1 or 2 houses in them. So I think it's really important that the Federation bus can get out there and reach out to the tenants that we sometimes don't get the chance to go and see. And they quite often, you know, they raise issues and bring them back to us, and then we can try and go and resolve them for them. So I think it's important they can jump on the bus, speak to people, and they know that their issue will be taken seriously and either passed to the likes of myself to deal with, or a technical inspector, or maybe passed higher up the line if it's a complaint about something, or you know, it might be a thank you, and I mean that's always nice to get as well. There tends to be quite a lot of repair issues. That's obviously always quite a high priority for people, but in this last year, 18 months, the majority of the issues have probably been around and about the welfare reform. We've had a lot of issues with tenants with that, real concerns, people really worried about how they're going to manage.
Dylan has cerebral palsy. He's quadriplegic, which means no movement in all 4 limbs. We presently live in a flat which is up a flight of stairs, which is 16 stairs. We have been looking for tenant accommodation for the last 10 years, but sadly there's nothing, private or council. Living in a flat, it means it's really difficult to get Dylan up the stairs and also down the stairs, and I've always got to rely on someone to come and help me. Jane Moore from DGHP phoned us and asked if she could actually come out and have a look at our situation. So she came out on the Wednesday, and she came in and had a look at our situation and just said, oh, she says, this is not acceptable, you can't live like this anymore. She says, I'll see what I can do for you.
I was doing some consultation in another part of Langham, and I met Angela Kay. And I went to see her in her house because she said that she was having some housing difficulties. Went upstairs to her flat, and I met Dylan, and I met her husband and other children. And I could clearly see that this family needed another property, without a doubt. I witnessed Angela trying to help Dylan in and out of the property, and I thought, my goodness, but I'm sure DGHP can help here. I went away and worked with my colleagues in our allocation section to see if I could arrange for other people to move within Langham, which would have freed up a property that we could have adapted to suit Angela's family's needs. Now, it was spent about 3 months trying to get people to move and create this chain to let a vacancy come up, and we didn't manage it at all. Well, I went back to see Angela, and I thought, well, we really can do something to help here. But the only option then was to build them a house. So I came back, spoke to James, we put some plans together, identified an area where we could build the house, and got the green light from the Scottish Government. The plans were drawn up, gone through planning, and we're about to start the property.
One of the big areas that we've really managed to affect people's lives for the better is through our AIDS and Adaptations programme. At the moment we spend something like £1 million as part of that programme, and we get £500,000 to £600,000 from the government to help achieve that. And when you see some of the major adaptations we do, when we extend people's houses, it makes a huge difference to their life. And a great thanks also goes to our funders, Probably the two big ones for us are the Scottish Government, where for new build we've had nearly some £70 million from them over the last 6 or 7 years, and from the council, from Dumfries and Galloway Council, who have helped us through that process, who've supported us and who have given us funding over the last 5 or 6 years. In one recent case in Langham, the family have been living in some very poor conditions, and we've managed to get the funding together to build a purpose-made house. Their requirement was really to build them a downstairs bedroom for Dylan to live in, plus a aids and adaptations bathroom with a lift and hoist, so that they can move him from the bedroom to the bathroom easily.
Got a phone call from Jane saying that they've successfully applied for Scottish Government funding to build us a house. So a 4-bedroom adapted house, which was absolutely fantastic. We didn't expect that, and no way did we expect that. So far, DGHP have been absolutely fantastic. They've involved us right from the very, very, very beginning. And obviously right to the end, they're going to involve us, which they've been really, really good.
I'm just proud to work for an organisation that can do things like that and make such a difference to people's lives.
We've got a new build programme as well as the regeneration, and we've become the main new build developer now in the region, and that's a whole range of rural schemes. I think that, you know, that's providing much needed housing.
We were in it was a 3-bed flat, but the rooms were tiny, no storage, the kids were living on top of each other and they just needed a bit of their own space. And we were told that we had been offered the property on number 15, and we done cartwheels in the living room. Ideal for kids and scooters and quad bikes. Then into the kitchen, which compared to the kitchen we had round there is massive. Up the stairs, a massive big bathroom and 3 big double bedrooms. I've never seen a house so cheap in electricity. For the back of the house, it's brilliant, an absolute cracking sea view. You open your curtains in the morning and just see the waves. Where we were before, we were right in the corner, so the kids could never really play outside because there was always the danger, but now we never see them. They're out, they're at the park, they're just on the scheme, on scooters, bikes, there's kids galore now, it's lovely.
90% of the people in these houses have come from Port William, and they've come up from smaller houses that perhaps weren't suitable in our existing stock. The feedback we've had so far has been very positive.
One of the changes over the past 2 or 3 years has been that the organisation has had to develop and evolve in order to allow it to give much more support to those tenants that are more vulnerable and need more help to stay in their tenancies. And the organisation has developed its own support and people team that provide floating support to our tenants. We also now have recently won contracts to provide homeless accommodation with support. And I think this is a tremendous achievement for DGHP because we're now able to offer support to tenants at the point that they become homeless, right through to them getting their own house and beyond.
We had some 6 months from the point of bidding for the project to the point of delivering it. People started to move in at the end of March, and again, you know, coming up with a business plan to make that work was very challenging.
My name's Claire Gates and I'm the coordinator for the temporary accommodation. Here we're at Lurs Avenue, and this is the largest of our projects. We've got 15 flats here, and what we do is support the residents with daily living skills and just helping them really to gain the independence and the skills to enable them to go on and have their own tenancy in the future.
Before I came here, I thought that I wouldn't get the help, the independence that I've always wanted. I was speaking to my homeless officer, and then she requested that Lurs Avenue had a project running, but she didn't know if it was if I'd be able to succeed in the project and give it a try, so that's when I got the chance to come here. Everybody's brilliant, so they can't fault them, not in one bit. So that's what they've gave me, just to go out and just make a life for myself. I don't think they realise as much to the actual what they've done for me. So.
We're here at Home Park View, and that's our fairly new young person supported housing project. So we opened on the 19th of March 2012, and we provide 10 self-contained individual units for young care leavers between the ages of 16 and 21.
I moved out of care into homeless, then I got offered a place here. First time I heard about Home Park View was from a leaving care worker, because I actually wanted to move back from the Fries from Stranraer, because I'm originally from the Fries. The staff have been really helpful. They've given us budget and plans to do, they've assisted us doing them, they've helped us out when it comes to housing benefits, council tax and anything else we require. I didn't even know modern apprenticeships existed until my support worker informed me of it and then helped me through with my application, my references. So really, it's actually probably most thanks to them that I've actually got my first job.
I think my experience here will help me know how to handle certain situations and build up friendships and know what risks I put myself into and what I don't. Staff here are amazing. They do above the role what they're meant to do. They do above their job role with many of things. They've done that with me.
It's an event for our sheltered housing tenants who are very dear to us in DGHP, and as it's our 10th birthday we thought we'd lay on a special event for them and make it into a nice tea party because they are a wee bit older. We started off the day with a welcome from the chairman of our customer services committee, and we had a nice big cake which some of the tenants cut.
This is the first time in 10 years that we've had an opportunity to bring all our sheltered housing tenants together. So we're here at Kukubri and we have about 150 of our sheltered housing tenants here, and we're having a great time.
All the crystal chandeliers light up the paintings on your wall.
The lovely meal and all the company we've had and people being so kind and coming round and looking after us and new photos, and what more could you ask for the day?
Oh yeah, brilliant. A really brilliant day.
My commanding officer is responsible for what we call the firm base. That unites and brings together local councils, the community, armed forces. One of the areas that they look at through DGHP is the housing.
We've had the project in place for well over a year now. A lot of the soldiers coming out the army were really struggling to find affordable accommodation. For some of them, they were placed in temporary accommodation. It was very quickly agreed that we could do better in Dumfries and Galloway, and we could create a direct access for the soldiers into housing in Dumfries and Galloway.
My name's Greg Wallace, and I was in the army in Afghanistan in 2010, and I was injured in duty over there. Returned home to rehabilitation. Once I'd been in touch with DGHP, obviously gave them the details about myself and my wife, and just to see what they could do for us, and they took it on board, and they said that it was a new covenant for ex-military to get into housing, and they said that they would do what they could. In November last year, we got the keys for the house here in Skylark Court. The house is lovely.
So we are here, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, to celebrate a very, very special thing happening at Gretna Primary School. We are celebrating the opening of the wonderful playhouse that has been going on for the last 3 or 4 months.
This has been the first time we've ever really brought something of this scale to a primary school, and we think the benefits of that are preparing the children at a younger age.
We had a what you would call a Dragon's Den sort of forum, and there was a number of us sat in a panel and they put forward the project. And I'll be honest, as I said earlier on, I thought that they were biting off more than they could chew on the day. But when you see what they've done, it's absolutely unreal.
Children had the chance to plan it, to design it, to lay out the drawings, to go to planning committee, to go and ask for permission to do this, get build warrants, actually come out and physically then go and build it. So it was bringing in all elements of careers as well as just the housing side of things.
The children had actually drawn it all out on the ground and had worked out all the calculations and prepared the drawings with DGHP staff. And then we got the drawings and got the materials ordered, labour sorted out, and Adrian involved in the job, and then we got up and running.
We've all been involved in it from the start, so we've all designed it and planned it.
We all done a floor plan, which was contributed to the final floor plan.
Well, we all sat down and we got a piece of paper that had the layout of the playhouse, and we got to write on like the kind of design that we'd like.
We chose a few of them that were really good, and then we put them all of them together.
There's like a room for us older ones, and then there's like a room for the little ones.
When I first heard about this project, I didn't think it was gonna go as well as planned, and I didn't think it was possible that we could do.
DGHP collects about £35 million a year in rent income from its 10,000 tenants. We spend about £30 million on managing and maintaining and improving the housing stock, and last year we spent something close to £20 million on building new housing stock on top of that. All of that means that we have a debt to banks of about £140 million, which is going to rise to £170 million in the next 2 years before we start to pay it off. IT is crucial to everything we do at DGHP. Everybody in DGHP uses our IT systems every day. We have state-of-the-art, best-of-breed systems for housing management, accounts, asset management, HR and payroll.
Every transaction, that it might be just a contact from a tenant, it might be somebody asking to be put in the waiting list, paying their rent, applying for housing benefit, everything is recorded in a system, and it's very important that members of staff can see an entire 360-degree view of our customers to know what their issues are. We record all our repairs that broken down into great detail as to what they cost, when they'll be completed and so on. Rent accounts showing payments, housing benefit, people's application for housing. It's a point-based system based on their circumstances. Planned maintenance works, cyclical maintenance works. We now encourage tenants to contact us via a single number, regardless of what their query concerns. We take about 600 calls a day in the service centre, and the staff there are trained to deal with just about any sort of call at first point of contact. It's only on very rare occasions they have to put it through to a specialist team.
.5, 97.103 and at westsoundradio.com. Well, we'd like to say a happy 10th birthday to everybody at Dumfries and Galloway Housing Partnership. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone at DGHP for their support of West Sound Cash for Kids through the years. I can't tell you a lot about the children that we help due to their circumstances, but only to say that the presents that we give out at Christmas time over the festive are sometimes the only presents that these kids receive. So from all those children and from all the team here at West Sound Radio, Thank you very much, DGHP. We wish you all the very best for the future and a happy 10th birthday.
I'd just like to wish DGHP a very happy 10th birthday.
As a tenant of DGHP, I'd like to thank them very much for their help and wish them a happy birthday and many more of them.
I'd like to wish DGHP a very happy 10th anniversary. I've been with this company now for 6 years. I like what I'm doing and enjoy the company. The people are very good and we try very hard for the company.
Happy birthday DGHP. You're a great organisation and thank you.
I know what it's like to be 10. Happy birthday DGHP.
Yeah, I'd like to wish DGHP a happy 10th anniversary.
The improvement in DGHP is phenomenal. We've gone from a non-developing housing association to developing new houses. We've vastly improved the standard of our stock. I think all our tenants appreciate this. And I would really like to wish them a happy birthday for the work they have done.
Happy birthday, DGHP. Happy birthday from all the 10-year-olds at Lochside Primary. Happy birthday from everyone at Young.
So I'd just like to wish them all the best in the future and happy birthday.
Well, I'd just like to wish DGHP a 10th happy birthday.
I wish them happy birthday. Happy birthday to DGHP from Home Park View.
I found out that DGHP haven't been about bricks and mortar. They've given us a lot of assistance with community projects, namely allotment project, an ultra-modern play area and also a furniture project that we have nearly now up and running with DGHP's support. So I wish them a very happy 10th birthday and I hope it can work as well over the next 10 years as we have over the last few years.
Well, we would like to thank you for making our house a much better place to live in.
I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity to live in such a lovely house and a nice area.
Hello, my name is Chloe Marchbank. I'm a student trainee here at DGHP. I've been working across all the different departments, learning new different things, and I'd like to wish DGHP a very happy 10th birthday.
Happy birthday DGHP. I worked with you in the stock transfer when you were just infants and I've watched you growing up through your teenage years. You're doing a marvellous job for tenants in Dumfries and Galloway. I look forward to working with you for the next 10 years as you mature into an adult. Happy birthday from all at TPAS.
I'd like to wish DGHP a happy 10th anniversary. Here at Queen of the South, we feel we're a community club and we know DGHP have the same ethos and work hard throughout the community and throughout the year.
I'd like to wish Dumfries and Galloway Housing Partnership a very happy 10th birthday and look forward to another 10 happy years with them as well.
Having delivered on the first 10 years, we're now starting to look at the next 20 to 30 years of the organisation's life. And I don't think we're anywhere near finished yet. We've still got in the region of 4,500 people on our waiting list, so there are still a lot of people out there that require our help. And even in our challenging environment, we'll constantly look at ways of trying to deliver high quality houses and support the people in most need.
We want to keep on improving services. We're going to keep on listening to tenants. We want to keep on developing. We're going to finish off the regeneration successfully. And we're absolutely going to be optimistic and confident about the future, that we'll keep delivering what we're actually best at. It's always been about making sure that we measure each year that we're actually achieving the promises to tenants. We measured that at 5 years and at 10 years, and we've achieved all the 60+ promises. DGHP's tenants, and they've put in a huge amount of effort to make DGHP the success it is. They've taken some really hard decisions, some really brave decisions, but they've set the course for the future, and they've set a successful course. They've exercised great leadership and great stewardship.
I really believe that we have delivered everything that we have set out to do, and sometimes against the odds. It's not been plain sailing at all, but we've come through, we've delivered.